So let's do number 5 together. Snare drum on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, and stop. Okay, so I don't feel like I need to play all of these for you, but we just played 5. With this 6, you just move the snare drum to beat 2. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. For number 7, move it to beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 8, move it to beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Starting with number 9, it becomes a little bit more challenging because now you're using your right foot, your left hand, and the hi-hat all together, so 3 limbs. In the case with number 9, you have the bass drum and the snare drum all together on beat 1. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, and stop. Alright, number 10, you have the bass drum on beat 1, snare drum on beat 2. The thing that makes this tough is it's a quick transition from your foot to the snare drum. So you really just want to practice this stuff slow, get the coordination down, and then you can speed it up as you get more comfortable with it. Right now, I do not care about speed. I just care that you learn this stuff. So let's try number 10 together. We'll do it slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4, and stop. Okay, so you can go through 11 through 15 on this page. Just moves the bass drum and the snare drum around. You can read that. If the bass drum's on count 2, play it on count 2. If the snare drum's on count 4, play it on count 4. That's the idea. So look at the book, use that to help you. Keep your eyes on the page. Your drums are not going anywhere. And learn to follow the music as you read it and play it. Alright, so I'm going to turn the page. You get some more variations on it. 16 through 24, just moving the bass drum and the snare drum around some more. And then we have a 16-bar exercise. If you would like to play along with it, I would suggest going to our website, studiopercussion.org. We have all of these 16-bar exercises recorded at 3 different speeds, a slow speed, a moderate speed, and a faster speed. You can play along with it. I counted off. You can download this stuff for free, burn it to a CD, play along with it in your bedroom or wherever you keep your drums. I have some students that do that, and it seems to help them quite a bit, so I definitely would recommend that if that's something you're interested in. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play it for you and talk to you a little bit about it. I'm going to go ahead and play this once, and then I'll give you some comments on it, show you the hard sections and how to work through that. Alright, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to play it just a little bit quicker so you can get a sense for the groove, because there is a groove here. There is kind of a melody that happens, but you don't really pick up on it until you've heard it at a little bit of faster tempo. Alright, here we go. Yeah, we'll go about that fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play it faster than that, but speed isn't really the point. It's about getting a good feel for how your limbs are supposed to work with this, and you want to focus on your timing. Make sure you stay at the same tempo throughout it all. Try to play the notes all right and the same each time you do it. So let's talk about some issues here. With this particular 16-bar exercise, the hardest or most difficult two measures that people seem to have are the last two. So the fourth line, third and fourth measure. It's difficult because there's some right brain, left brain stuff going on that's kind of difficult to coordinate. And with the third measure, you have the bass drum on all 4 beats with the hi-hat. Then you play the snare drum on 2 and 4. And here's a way to think about it. When you're playing all of this stuff, your right hand never changes. That's kind of your default. So you don't really have to think about it too much because it's the same every time you play. You just have to move the bass drum and the snare drum around. So that's a default way of thinking. This measure right here, what I suggest doing is, for just that measure only, you're going to kind of change your default gear a little bit. You're going to play the bass drum with the hi-hat on all 4 beats, and because that's always the same in that particular measure, you're going to play the snare drum on 2 and 4. That changes. So focus on the snare drum. Keep the bass drum and the hi-hat the same for that measure. The opposite effect happens in the fourth measure. You got the snare drum on all 4 beats, so really your hands are doing the same thing. And then the bass drum's the only thing changing. So what I suggest doing is practice this measure, the third measure, with the bass drum on all 4 beats, and then once you have that good, practice the fourth measure with the snare drum on all 4 beats. Feel comfortable with that. Then what you have to do is transition from one thought process or default thought process when you're playing this stuff to another one. So that's kind of a gear change. That transition is going to be hard. You're going to have to practice that. And most people have a real hard time with that, and that's normal, that's okay. Just work through it. There are a few gems in each one of these 16-bar exercises that give people a hard time. This is the one in this particular exercise. Something else that's difficult for some people is the first measure and the third line. The first note you play is just the hi-hat by itself for count 1. Sometimes people miss that or leave it out altogether. So you want to observe that. Make sure you're playing all 4 beats in every measure. Other than that, I'm not going to say that everything on this page is easy, but the things that I just mentioned are the hardest parts of it. So hopefully what I explained will help you out with those sections. Everything else is really just kind of reading. Just practice this stuff slow. If you have a metronome, set it to like 80 beats per minute or 70 beats per minute. Practice really slow, just work on it, get comfortable with it, and then you can start thinking about speeding up the tempo. So what I would suggest is for your homework, practice that a bunch and get comfortable with it, and then when you're ready, start with the next section. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the next section now, but my intention is that you're pausing the tape now, working on this other stuff, and then you can continue with the video. Alright, so we're going to do the next section here.